You think that because your song is on Spotify and you signed up for a PRO that you're actually collecting everything that you're owed, but you aren't. You are currently letting your hard-earned mechanical and performance royalties sit in a black box fund that eventually gets handed over to the major labels. And most gurus will tell you that the ISRC is the most important code that you own, but they're wrong. There is a global serial number called an ISWC for your song that, when linked correctly, can instantly bridge the gap between your distributor and the collection societies that currently don't even know that it exists yet. So by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to secure your ISWC and use it to audit your digital footprint so you never miss a cent of publishing again. My goal is to help you understand that mastering this metadata bridge is the key to unlocking up to 50% of your royalties that you didn't even know were missing. And I'm going to show you a quick system that will make it simple for you to stack your codes to more than double your publishing royalties. Now, first things first is we just got to start at what is an ISWC, because in order to master your royalties, you have to understand the DNA of your music. The ISWC, which stands for International Standard Musical Work Code, is a unique, permanent, and internationally recognized reference closed loop identifier for musical works. Think of it like a social security number for your melody and lyrics. But where does it come from? It all starts with the CISAC, the International Confederation of Societies of Authors and Composers. Based in Paris, they are the global originators who oversee the entire ISWC system. They set the standards that every country in the world must follow. However, you don't call up the CISAC to get a code. They delegate that power to registration agencies, which in most cases are your PROs, which are performance rights organizations like ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, PRS. When you register a song with your PRO, they communicate with the global CISAC database to assign you that official number. Now, breaking down the code is like this. When you look at the ISWC, it isn't just a random string of gibberish. It follows a very specific mathematical formula. An ISWC always starts with the letter T, followed by 9 digits, and ends with a single check digit at the end to prevent errors. It looks like this: T, and in some cases it will have a dash there, 123.456.789-C. Sometimes these dots and dashes are there, sometimes the dots and dashes aren't. For the T, this is the primary prefix. It simply tells the computer, hey, this is a musical work, not a book or film. The 9-digit number, this is where the unique work identifier comes from, and this is the specific fingerprint of your song's composition. The check digit, this last number, is calculated using a complex mathematical formula. Its only job is to ensure that if a data entry clerk typos a number, the system catches it immediately. Now, here's the most important thing to remember. One song equals one ISWC. It doesn't matter if you have a remix or an instrumental or a polka version of your track. Those will all have different ISRCs for the recordings, but they must all share the single ISWC. Now, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out what I just said. Now, if you or your co-writers accidentally register the same song twice and get 2 different ISWCs, you just created a split in your data, and that's how money gets lost. You want every stream of every version to point back to that one single T prefix code. Voila. Now, how to use the ISRC to stack the ISWC if you didn't get it, rocket scientists. Now that you know what an ISWC is, let's talk about the actual ISWC stack strategy via stacking your ISRCs that we talked about a few weeks ago. Now, if you want to double your royalties, you have to stop thinking about your music as songs and start thinking about them as assets. This is why the name of the game in music publishing is to get as many people as possible to cover your song and create as many versions as possible. So remember, the ISRC is the recording, the master. The ISWC is the song, the composition. Most artists release a song, get one ISRC for DistroKid, TuneCore, or assign their own, and think that they're done. But what happens when you release the instrumental, or the remix, or the acoustic version, or the sped up version, or the TikTok version? What happens? Each of those is a new recording. So each one gets a new unique ISRC, which puts a limit on your money funneling and charting. But now the ISWC, you see what I'm saying? You get it? So check this out. The mistake 99% of artists make is leaving those ISRCs floating out there in the digital void. If your PRO, ASCAP, BMI, etc., doesn't know that these 5 different recordings all belong to one song, these 5 to 1, you are leaving money on the table, especially in publishing, specifically in publishing. So here's a step-by-step system to stack them. Wait for the ISWC. First, register your work at your PRO. Once it's processed, they will assign you that T number, the ISWC. Step 2 is to gather your ISRC army. All of those codes you got from your distributor. Go to your distributor and grab the ISRC for every single version of the song you got. The main mix, the clean version, the radio edit, all of them. You can use ISRCfinder.com if need be. Then number 3 is you want to link them up. So log into your PRO portal and then look for the add/edit recordings or ISRC management section within your registered work. And then you want to stack them. So step 4. So you're going to manually attach every single one of those ISRCs to that one ISWC. You know what I'm saying? Why does this double your royalties if you ain't picking it up yet? Now, when you stack these codes, you are creating a metadata net. Okay. When a radio station in Germany plays your club remix, which is ISRC A, and then a coffee shop in Seattle streams your acoustic version, which is ISRC B, the global tracking system sees 2 different recordings. But because you stacked them, both checks flow directly into the same ISWC bucket. Now, if you don't do this, the system sees a recording with no composition attached to it. That money doesn't go to you. It goes to the black box. And this is where it sits for 3 years before given to the top 1% of artists on the chart. Go back and watch this video if you need to, okay? By stacking your ISRCs, you aren't just organized, you are ensuring that every single branch of your song is feeding the same root, which is your bank account. I mean, that's why this channel is called the Music Money Makeover Show. Let's make some money, man. Now, so far we've covered what an ISWC is and how to stack it, but this next part is where most artists and their teams may get confused, doubling the revenue and the ISRC stack versus the ISWC stack. So stay with me. And side note, if you need a strong business foundation to run your record label with funding, grab my 60-day record label system complete with my funding partners to help fund some of this setup process. Actually, you don't need to fund the setup process, but if you got other processes you need to fund, grab it and get it done. All right, now doubling your royalties with mechanical royalties. Let's talk about it. If you only register your song with a PRO like ASCAP or BMI, you aren't just missing a little bit of your money. You are missing exactly 50% of your publishing royalties, or approximately. Here's the breakdown. In the world of streaming, every play generates 2 types of publishing. Royalty number 1 is the performance royalties, what your PRO collects. Royalty number 2 is the mechanical royalties, what the MLC collects in the US. Now, to be fair, let me go on a disclaimer here. Every country in the world does not honor digital mechanical royalties for streams. Put that in your head, keep the note there. Now, if you haven't taken your ISWC and registered it with the MLC, which is the Mechanical Licensing Collective for all of my Americans watching, your mechanical royalties are currently sitting in the holding pen, known as the unmatched pool, which is what all users of the MLC get paid out on when their song closely matches an unmatched song. The MLC's entire system is built on matching ISRCs, the recording, to ISWCs, the song. If that link is broken, they can't pay you. Successfully, that is. All right, so first things first is you need an MLC account. I ain't gonna walk you through that. That's in the 60-day record label, or you can do your research or whatever. It's free to join. Then once you're in there, you wanna use the matching tool. This is the secret weapon. You can search for your artist name or your ISWC. Then you'll likely find recordings of your song that are unmatched. And this means that they are making money, but the MLC doesn't know who to send the checks to. So what you wanna do is supply the ISRC. When you find an unmatched recording, you tell the system, this is the ISRC that belongs to this ISWC. That's the doubling effect once that link is made. You just unlocked the second stream of income for that song. You see? So I want you to think about this. Spotify doesn't pay one big lump sum for publishing, they split it. If you only have a PRO, you are catching the performance side. By using your ISWC to claim those recordings at the MLC, you are effectively doubling your revenue. And because you stacked your ISRCs earlier, you can link the acoustic version, the remix, and the live version all at once. One ISWC, dozens of recordings, and 2 massive royalty streams flowing into your pocket instead of just one. You know what I mean? Now here's a strategy gap with the charts versus the cash here. Now you might be asking, if I'm stacking all these codes, am I doing it for the clout or for the checks? The answer is both, but only if you know the difference between ISRC stacking and ISWC stacking. The ISRC stack and the popularity play is this. When you see a major artist like a Taylor Swift release 5 different versions of a single, whether it be the main version, the instrumental, the open verse, or the radio edit, well, she wouldn't release an open version. They are ISRC stacking for the charts. By using the stacking technique at the distributor level, they can make it so that the streams from the main, the instrumental, and the radio edit all count toward one single line item on the Billboard charts. This is how you get a #1 song or a quick rise. It's about visibility. It's about making one song look as massive as possible to the public. All right, now here's the ISWC stack. This is the revenue play. But while the ISRC stack helps you trend on Spotify, the ISWC stack is how you expand your catalog value. Hear me out. When you link multiple ISRCs to one ISWC, you are performing revenue generation. The ISRC is a snapshot of a moment, a specific recording. The ISWC is the infinite asset. You see what I'm saying? By stacking your ISWC, you are telling the global banking systems of music, every time this melody exists in any form, whether it's a 15-second TikTok clip, a live performance in Japan, or a cover song by a fan, that money belongs to this specific composition. Bottom line is this: if you only focus on ISRC stacking, you might look popular, but your metadata is thin. You're only collecting on the versions you uploaded. But when you master ISWC stacking, you are engaging in catalog expansion. You are making your song discoverable to every collection society on earth. You aren't just fighting for a spot on a chart for 1 week. You are building a theoretical safety net that catches every stray cent your song earns for the next 70 years. Charts are for ego. ISWCs are for equity. You see what I'm saying? So here's the challenge for you today. Open up a spreadsheet and write down your top 5 songs. Now go to your PRO and look at the registered works for those songs. Ask yourself, are all my versions, the instrumentals, the remixes, or the live performances, listed as recordings under that one ISWC? If they aren't, you aren't just disorganized, you are actively refusing a paycheck, a royalty check. The goal is to truly understand the power an ISWC holds and the way of generating more revenue with them. Some love the radio edit or need it, and others love the acoustic. But the money for both should end up in the same place. The real question isn't should you do this, it's how much longer can you afford not to. I mean, it really don't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. Now, if you need help with devising a strategy, book a call with me or join our group strategy calls every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time inside the Music Moneymakers community. Click below to join right now today. Now, I know that some of you are thinking that you're standing on the edge, looking at this metadata mountain and feeling the resistance. So let's break that down right now. Let's break it down. Come on, let me hold your hand, make it easy. If you think that this is too technical or math heavy, all you have to do is copy and paste. That's all we're doing. Your distributor already gave you the ISRC, or either you bought it and assigned it yourself. Your PRO already gave you the ISWC. You're just playing matchmaker at this point. So if you think your catalog is too small for this to matter, just start now. It will be 100 times harder to fix 50 songs later than it is to fix 5 songs today. Guaranteed, you do not want to do that. So if you think that the PROs will eventually find your money anyway, all you have to do is look at the black box statistics. Billions of dollars go unclaimed every year. The system is designed to pay the people who show up with the right paperwork and have the biggest market share. Where do you think hit bonuses come from that I talked about in this video? So if you didn't get this video, watch it again, watch that video and watch this video, and then you'll probably bring it all to a head. Now, if you ignore this, you'll leave thousands of dollars in mechanical royalties at the MLC in the unmatched pool that you can never really claim back after the deadline, after those 3 years. And then the burnout of working 40+ hours a week on music and feeling like the industry is rigged against you when in reality you just didn't have the key to the vault is a little bit depressing. So it's a choice. You can either be a creative hobbyist who hopes for the best or a music business executive who demands what they're owed. One of those choices leads to a career, the other leads to a what if. At the end of the day, if you were struggling with confusion over why your streaming numbers don't match your bank account, incomplete registrations that only capture 50% of your performance, royalties, or a thin metadata profile that let your remixes and acoustic versions float in the void, understand you now have the means to become the savvy catalog owner you've always wanted to be. You aren't just dripping songs anymore. You are building a global asset class that pays you while you sleep. Music money makers, if you make music, you should always make money. Log on to musicmoneymakeover.com, grab the 60-day record label system complete with my funding partners beneath this video right now, book a call, join the Music Money Makers community, grab the free stuff below, and watch this next video right over here to save your career. And I'll see you next time. Peace.